We're just talking off air about what a legend of a bloke Nathan Smith is, former Panthers. What a champion. Anyway, we will soldier into the Bunnies. South Sydney Rabbitohs up next. Coached by Wayne Bennett. Captain by Cam Murray. Remember him? He's good at football. And in 2024, they finished 15th. And would never hire at 13th all year. So all these people are about to tip them for top 4. Just letting you know. Almost all their wins came around Origin time.
Yeah.
But injuries did play their part. Arrow was busted all year. Even when he played, he was not with us. Latrell only played 11 games. Murray 14 games. Campbell Gray missed the whole year. Obviously, they lost Locke and Elise in round 2.
Tass was out for a big part, I'm pretty sure.
Tass, etc., etc. It's just injuries didn't
Totola
help.
played 8 games or something.
Well, the draw, so it was not a pretty year. And I'll just say it right now, get out of the way. At times last year, their line speed and edge defence was the worst in the comp, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Some of those really bad games, but they were down on the cavalry. I guess not even the cavalry. They were down on the infantry as well. The draw this year, they play the top 8 13 times. It's not a pretty draw. Top 8 13 times. Top 4 8 times.
So
they
everyone twice. Yeah.
Broncos, Bulldogs, Sharks, Dolphins, Storm, Penrith, Dragons, Roosters. They play them all. Probably the worst team in the comp. What do your stats say?
For the draw. Definitely the worst draw in the comp.
They, as I said, they kick off away to the Dolphins, ironically. Then they play the Dragons away, and then the Sharks, Roosters, Panthers. So,
13 of the 14 games, the 24 they're playing against top 8 opponents. They've got 4 back-to-back away games. They just do not get a let up. They, as you mentioned, they played the top 4 times, and 7 of their first 10 games are against the top 8 from last year. Coming off the back of what they did last year. Should be a massive uptick with some of the blokes that are coming back into that team. And the back end of the draw doesn't look a whole lot better either, to be honest. They've got 3 games against the top 4 in the last 6 or 7 games as well. So they're going to need to really put some games together during that middle of the year Origin time, and they might lose 1 or 2 to Origin. So
maybe their main one.
Murray and Latrell, if fit.
They are the victim of the branding, and they've copped all the hot Friday nights and this sort of thing. And until we get to a stage where everyone either plays each other twice, or we get to the alleged 20-team play run once comp, this is what we're going to cop. But they copped it. They copped it. This year, they pick up Ewan Aitken, who they could desperately use. Lewis Dodd comes in from St Helens to play halfback. Is it true he ended up in reserve grade?
Yeah, he got dropped at a point
halfway through the year.
Which I get in Wayne we trust.
It was about 3 weeks after he signed the contract with South, to be honest. But
yeah. Young Lockie Hubner from the Dolphins, Jamie Humphreys, Josh Schuster, Jaden Sullivan has gone there from the whose turn is it? My turn to read this team.
Just on the you mentioned the 20 teams. I think it goes to conferences then, but. Just makes sense. 10 teams on each side. Play everyone twice.
Play everyone twice, okay.
But we'll go through the 17.
But then how does that work when... The problem is the Queensland Conference at this stage, if it was to happen tomorrow, is pretty piss weak. Yeah. Who do you throw in?
You'd split the comp in half, right? Whatever the middle point is between 10 and 10.
And it's alternative conferences. Well, or do you seed them? Let's not talk about this now. Let's get through this 4-hour podcast, and we'll fix the world's problems.
The conference podcast.
We are the conference podcast.
Latrell Mitchell at 1, Alex Johnson and Munro in the wings. Okay.
Now, poor old Campbell Graham apparently just broken his hand.
Yes.
So he's out.
Isaiah Tass.
Probably the first month, by the looks of things.
So he was. There's a beautiful article about him. I think it was in the Herald. How he's had his sternum died. It was that fucked that they had to cut it out and everything.
Yeah, well, it's because they made him play for most of the year, and they put they put a bit of fucking plastic over it
and needled him. Yeah,
they ended up putting an insert.
Apparently,
over
he was as everyone is. Apparently, he was flying until then and had broken hands. Jack Whiten going.
Yeah, so Whiten back in the centres is a big tick for mine, to be honest, because he's a much better centre than he is a half. Campbell Graham, will obviously probably be Tass for the first month. Walker and Dodd in the halves. Arrow and Totola in the front row. Mamazoulis at hooker. Kulamutangi and Aitken in the back row. Ooh, maybe. Murray at 13.
Aiken might start at centre.
Sullivan in the 14. Moali, Kepi and Duncan round out the bench.
Well, that was my prognostications. Do you agree? If you do not, where are you going?
Yeah, looking at that 17, there's not really... nobody's going to push Aitken out of that 12, are they?
Unless Joe Arrow plays. But Joe Arrow has to play in the middle. In that
You would
team.
think so.
Unless you start Moali into Tala.
Yeah, you'd probably start
Totola.
Moali. And then...
Tallis Duncan.
Because
Thereabouts.
Aitken at this point of his career is probably a better 14 than he is a starting back rower. But
I don't think he's at all.
no.
I don't think he's a gun. But anyway.
You're going to let...
Same as his half-brother, Bo Fermel. Guns.
Who's his half-brother?
Bo Fermel.
But
They're the same player.
who... Oh,
Move
okay,
on,
sorry.
don't
I thought
worry
you
about
meant
it.
literally. I thought you meant
it's
literally.
not literal. Yeah.
But aren't they? Tell me I'm telling lies.
You're going to need to let me explain myself here because
Go
there
on.
is a thought process behind this. I've got South's fourth. Just listen.
Right.
Okay. Latrell's trading the house down. Fittest he's ever been.
So, well, he always
Have you heard?
does.
Yeah.
He does look better than I've ever seen.
He looks tremendous.
First things first, and I think this stat continues, and it's something that everyone always overlooks, including myself, during sort of picking your ladder in the preseason, and I've been determined this year not to let myself succumb to that, maybe to a fault.
What is it?
Since 2021, a team that has finished in the bottom four has finished in the top 8 the next season. 3 out of 4 times they have finished in the top 4.
Right.
And I look at the bottom 4 from last year, and I've literally
Does it run with
I have based my prediction based off of this.
Rest Ligers.
Well, clearly not. I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
I wore a different shirt today because I'm not allowed to wear... If I wear Tigers gear on this show, all comments are... Who thought you were wearing a Tiger shirt? You're not allowed to... Yeah,
Well, you fuck
because
yourself now.
You can't
I'm
talk about
ineligible
footy.
to have an opinion because I follow a shit team. Did my shit cricket team won the BBL?
Yes, well, they're not shit anymore, are
No,
they?
they're
They don't
winners
even-
now.
Anyway,
What's that?
First
yes,
time ever.
I've got Souths in 4th, and I took a look at the bottom 4 from last season. If any of those teams are going to finish in the top 4, it's going to be Souths. Part of that, half this Souths team, or close to it, have finished in the top 4 before and have been there before and have done it. The absolute biggest thing for me is the
Zimmer
god
frame
of
fella?
the god of all coaches is back at South Sydney. And I think with this roster, he can do more with this roster than he did with the Dolphins, most definitely.
What excites you about this roster?
He'll give him cuddles.
Well, okay, I'll put
Yeah.
it this way.
Make him feel good.
That's what certain players need.
Flop his
true.
wang out?
Your
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Apparently he's hung too.
I hear.
It
Kudos
wouldn't
to
surprise me. I guess a lot of what excites me, and I guess, and I hate to say it, but it's similar to Brisbane. What excites me is the potential of the roster.
Okay.
Like Brisbane's, if Brisbane, as I said when we were talking about Brisbane, if all of the Brisbane side plays to their potential consistently, they could finish top 4, which they wouldn't. But I'm going to say Wayne Bennett can get more out of the Rabbitohs. I'm saying Latrell Mitchell, and it's my bold prediction as well. If he can have him firing, if that is still possible for Latrell Mitchell to fire, then
He can fire.
then they're top 8. Murray fit for the whole year. Murray doesn't really need to change his form because he has been consistent with his form, but
Murray's a gun.
injuries, he's just got to stay on the field, really.
Should go back to an edge. He should go to an edge.
Walker,
Arrow's a gun as well.
Arrow, Kalal Matangi when he's on.
Yep.
Mamazolis has been promising in the past. He's not been an absolute dud, but we've just got to see him now that he's actually got the starting role. I think Cody Walker is the one for me where I'm a bit because I just don't know if
doesn't finish the season.
I don't know if he has it in him anymore.
Doesn't finish the season start.
Injury or just dropped?
dropped.
Cut.
Lewis
Okay.
Dodd
He's
is
37 or something.
Lewis Dodd is a big question mark for me, and it's what I alluded to with Lachlan Ilias in our Dragons
That
prediction.
was a bold prediction.
I think, Latrells and Cody Walkers, and I think Wayne Bennett will be the mastermind behind this. Give him a go to see what he actually offers. If it gets to a point where he's maybe not the controlling half that they want him to be, then a Mitchell and maybe Cody Walker can have a bit more of an influence on the side. And I think Mitchell will regardless. I think Cody Walker's just sort of out of the question now. He's just sort of there. But Campbell Graham, when he's fit and returning, if he can return to his form, he's absolutely world-class. Jack Whiten, I don't think, was terrible for the whole season for South Sydney last year. When they were going through their bad period at the start of 2024, he was one of the shining lights there.
Yeah, jagged a few
I think
tries.
you can still get. I think you can still get a solid centre out of Jack Whiten. Again, I'll be honest. This is largely based off of if buts and maybes, but you've got to have a team there that you sort of like. Yep, they're going to be right up there. And again, based off of that stat with a bottom 4 team overperforming every year, South Sydney are that team for me. I'm just going to absolutely back him. I've thought relatively logical with everyone else. I know I'm clutching at straws here, but I'm going to say they finish 4th. If they do so, Daggy needs to throw me a party in my honour, I think. Would you agree to that?
I've just penned them in at 9th, but that means in the next 6 teams to do, I have to fill a top 8, so I suspect I'm wrong.
I was going to say, 9th.
Yeah.
Surprised you got them up there.
Okay.
But by the way, I will emphasise this. This isn't just drunk me coming up with a with an off the. I've thought about this.
Yes,
I've said this in
we
the
had
bowl
this
prediction show.
before
Yes,
you
we
had a
have.
drink
I
today.
just want to.
Absolutely. And
am
before
saying top 4.
you have sat in the shower and stared at the roof and
pondered this. Yeah,
pondered this. I agree. Now I get to tell you you're wrong, but no, you're not wrong yet. I just think. Okay, Sean Kepi's exposed. Wiley, we know what you get. Tartolo, we know what we get.
I don't have Kepi in my side.
Ewan Aitken is a minor footballing dirty, so I understand that, and so is Cameron Murray. JR's got 2 busted arms. Malmazelos.
Fucking glass half empty with this guy. Sorry, anyway.
I'm just saying, I'm reading through.
Tiger supporter.
That's where I live. Look, your back 5 were woeful in defence last year. Cam Graham will help that.
Oh, immensely.
And Cody Walker's waiting for his senior sits card to get the free apple pie.
I am agreeing that he is a non-issue, pretty much.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't see how they go from 15th to 4th just because Wayne Bennett turns up. I don't see it. I might be wrong. And yes, Cameron Murray will help. And yes, Latrell Mitchell, and you both know it. You've both been in the show for 5 years. At his best, he's my favourite player. But God, it's a big ask to have Latrell drag these bums through. He's going to have to be Ponga level great, and he's Latrell level great, but that's different to Ponga level great. Ponga level produces points for everyone around him. Latrell comes over with a try assist and 3 tries for himself, and a try for himself, and then throws balls at people's heads and shit. Lewis Dodd's unproven. I think they miss the 8. I think they improve. I think they finish 15th. But, look, Jaden Sullivan probably starts at 9 from the more I think about this.
I think their backing man was at least to start the season.
Yeah.
I could see that being a reality eventually, but I don't think round 1.
Man, it was deplorable. A lot has to change, and quickly for them not to be as deplorable as they were the worst team in the comp for 12 of the individual performances last year in their individual rounds, if that makes sense.
You talk about blokes throwing the worst passes you've ever seen. Sullivan should be nowhere near a 9.
Sorry, speaking of which, can Latrell Mitchell please stop doing short fucking dropouts? Everyone lands in
everyone
second
does
row without fail. Or goes,
every second one.
The bloke can kick at 82 metres.
No.
Kick at 82 metres. No. Sorry.
Correct.
Sorry, Harper.
Every 4th one he gets it back, so that's what they're happy about. He kicks 2 of them over the sideline, but that's fine. I don't agree with Moali and Totola. I don't think they're that exposed. I think they've got another level to go to. And I think if they can do that, then you will see this team in and around the 8 and sniffing at the bottom of the 8. There's no way I'm going to put him in top 4 calculations.
Okay.
But, Arrow back, Murray back. If you get more than 3/4 of a season out of both of those guys, they're A-graders. They're not top of the bunch, but they're right up there. Well, Murray is, Arrow's pretty close. Their forwards were held together last year with hopes and dreams. There was nothing.
Tom Burgess was the fella.
But they
strapped the wagon to it. He had the corpse cart behind him.
Yeah, 100%. Dragging dead bodies with him.
Bring out your
15, 20 metre charges through the middle of the field. And there's a rumour that he might be coming back, but
stop it.
Whether
top 3.
You know why?
Whether that
top
happens
3
or not.
Because Sammy's coming back. He's going to coach next year.
Top 3.
with Sammy. He'll play.
Top
Fuck, he'll
two.
still even these
Captain coach.
He'd go better than half of them. Yeah. Fit Pack should see them competitive, I think, for a big part of the season. Trell, you mentioned.
But isn't the draw... Sorry.
Yeah, the draw is a massive downside.
I'll let you talk.
100%.
I apologise.
Trell is
Mr. McConaughey.
absolute X factor at his best, as you mentioned. He's one of my favourite players as well when he's up and going. He gets the angry head on, as does Mr. Walker. But, I think they're relying on Moale and Totola to go to another level, and I think it's in them. Their spine combination's a big question mark. Whether or not they actually make the 8 will come down to how Walker and Dodd do gel, and
You're
if
right.
they don't, what
Their
happens
spine is
after
a question mark in that 3 of the 4 are question marks. Now the one's Latrell Mitchell.
that? Yes, correct.
So
I rate Mamazoulis. I think he's got a fair bit about him.
he's busy.
He's busy out of
bee,
there.
yeah.
He defends well enough for a small guy, and his service off the ground is actually pretty good. I don't know how he goes trying to sort of get out of there and then bring other people onto the ball, which was Cook's massive upside that they used to have there. That's a question mark for when we get down the track. But yeah, that rotation comes down to whether Moale and Totola can pick up that slack when they start getting into that forward rotation and the grind of games, because I think that's where they'll lose a lot of their games, will be when they get into that grind. But I've got them scraping into 8th.
Can I just...
The other question... Sorry.
This will be the last thing I say on South, because
It's fine. It's all right.
it's something
I'm
I
not
thought before,
angry.
but I forgot. So I've got South's 4th. I feel like the 3 teams that finish above them will beat them easily.
Most of them.
I will say I feel like they will be beaten easily.
They'll be the Sharks of 2025.
But I do think they will be the Sharks, or maybe Parramatta of a couple of years ago, where there will be majority of the bottom 8. I think they'll be flat track bullies, and that's where they will just absolutely tail up some teams.
My concern is that horrible, horrible draw. Like, they have to win.
There's a stretch of about 10 games where they have to win just about everyone.
And you can't. If they drop 2 games to some nerds, they're
I'll
gone.
say this.
Hello.
Just don't worry about it. It's all good.
Okay. Sounds like me talking.
Sleepy will get them through it.
It's all good.
Sounds like me talking to my missus.
Wayne Bennett, just don't worry about it.
The other problem is poor old Campbell Graham, and God bless him. I love Campbell Graham. I generally do, and arguably the best defensive centre in the game. Unfortunately,
just on Arrow,
they're going to have to.
They did the same thing with Arrow. The bloke was hanging on for 8 games. He's like, I need to get surgery, but I'm going to keep playing because we've got nobody.
How many games did he play where he's like literally defending,
like 8 of them,
holding his arm?
I heard on...
but no Campbell Graham for the first month.
That goes back to their backroom staff. Like, fucking,
that's
how
my point,
important is it to win a game to destroy a bloke's shoulder? Where,
correct.
It could have been beyond repair.
So they're
if
starting with this start of the comp, and they're going to have Isaiah Tass in the centres, like Tane Milne.
I don't mind Tass.
I think it'll be Tass.
You'll be picking Tass over
It'll be
Milne,
Tass.
100%.
Tane Milne may well be the worst defensive centre in the comp.
He's also got a bit of a peanut brain sometimes as well. He can be a bit
You
of
reckon?
a hothead. Yeah.
Didn't he get sent off like 3 times in
quite
the
a-
space of
I remember
5
there
or
was a
6
game
games?
against Penrith I went to a couple of years ago where he got sin bin twice and then sent off or something. Like
That was remember the game
there was
against
a game
the
with
Roosters,
Penrith.
remember?
Oh, sorry. There was a game against Penrith that I was at, though,
sent off and
where he got
penalised
binned
6
and sent off.
times.
But
Only cost them the comp.
I will, something I actually heard.
How he ever played for him again after again?
Yeah, I don't
anyway.
know.
Yeah, so
Well, that speaks to backroom problems again. Like, you're running a club, right, and you see a performance from a bloke like that.
especially
You're just like, he's no longer associated with my fucking club. Fuck off.
A private owned club. If it happened to Chooks, you wouldn't probably wake up the next morning. But
Or you have a horse head.
Horse's head.
but how is it? But then this private owned club is allowed to. I don't know. I think that draw is going to be too much for him, man.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I'm saying that's all being said. I'm saying 9th or 10th. You're saying 8th.
I think they'll be a much better football team, but yeah, the draw might
Can't
get
not
them
be.
at the end of the year.
Can't not be.